So thank you. I'm so delighted that the opportunity arose that we'd be in Ventura and be able to read. I just want to say, too, that since we're advertising events that are upcoming, the wonderful Marcia Della O is going to be a featured reader in our Zoom for the group we have. We're called Words Out Loud. And if you go, so shameless plug, but won't be the first. Won't be the last, will be the first, but won't be the last. Shameless plug for Words Out Loud. If you go to wordsoutloud.org.uk, you will see our events. Marcia will be reading on the 20th of July. Please join by Zoom. We have a hybrid reading just like you guys. So it's great to be back after 2 years, as I say. So I'm going to start. This is everything I'm reading is stuff that is recent. Well, within the last 2 years, if that can be recent past. I guess any period of time you can still remember is probably recent when you get to my age. So we started Words Out Loud just over a year ago. So our first in-person reading was in June 2001, and so we did and we also had done a poetry. 2021. Did I say 2001? I do that every now and then. Thank you. And please, by the way, feel free to shout out as long as you don't throw anything. For the word, this was something that came to mind for our first anniversary reading. So it's called All Those Words. So many thoughts have decorated this place, falling as they do into the near oblivion of my memory, leaving only their meanings as memories, for now recalled. You can think a lot of things in a year, write pages of lines, cry streams of tears, and smile enigmas of smiles. They will all be here. And I reflect on all that has changed over this time, forever defined by all those words out loud. Okay, so what we try and do with Words Out Loud, we have 2 readings a month. In a cafe, which has been really kind to us. They don't charge us anything, and they're really sweet. But every now and then we go out to other places, and one of the places we went is a town called Bosham. It's spelt Bosham, but pronounced Bosham, because that's how we are in the south of England. And it's very pretty, and there's a bit of the road it's an inlet to Chichester Harbour, so the road floods every tide. So this is just a tone poem, Bosham tone poem. 1, low tide. Walking on the road, still wet from the tide, feeling the mud and seaweed in the air. Seagulls wheel across the cloudscape, screeching, following the creek to the deep water, while boats balance awkwardly, abandoned by the water. Across the causeway, the view, unchanged for centuries. Quayside, church, houses, framed against sturdy hills. 2, high tide. Now, the water retakes the land, restores the seascape, reasserts dominion, and once again remonstrates with Canute over who actually rules here. Now, I realize I should have probably told you about Canute. I don't know if you know about King Canute, but King Canute, a king of legend and a very long time ago, decided that he was all-powerful and took his throne to the water's edge, and commanded the sea to recede. So that didn't end too well for him. So, and there's a reference in Bossom is one of those villages, one of many that claim the Canute legend. So that's why it's in there. Okay. I haven't noticed what time I started. I started at 22, I think I did. This is called The Weather is Your Voice. It is winter, and I know I should rejoice in the crisp stillness of the morning cold. But the weather is your voice, and shards of ice spear through my defenses, lacerate thoughts hardly formed, laying them bare. I should listen as footfalls crunch gently in the frost, the only sound in this calm. But the weather is your voice, and shafts of moonlight, wind-whipped with teeth of sleet, bite at my face, frozen laser light in electric blue. I should marvel as the hoarfrost forms as if from nowhere on the twigs and branches. But the weather is your voice, and the howls inside the wind, more chilling than temperature, form the surround sound as the weather, your voice, once more cleaves my mind for all to stare at and laugh. So in February, we had a reading. It happened to be on February 2nd. So 2/2/22. And I looked that up because I thought that's funny. And it doesn't happen all that often, does it? And there was another one, obviously, 22/2/22. That wasn't a reading. So 2/2/22. So we invited people to write on that theme. And I looked it up, and I see that numerologists call them angel numbers, these numbers. Because they seem to be, believe that they are, what's the word? I don't know, conducive or friendly somehow for angels. And then I thought of, then I thought of a song that I know. So there's this, so there's a small epigraph, which is from a song by Samantha Fish. I don't know if you know the Samantha Fish band. They play country blues, which is called "No, There Ain't No Angels Around Here." So that's the epigraph. Silver shadow bathed in luminescent light, swirling carelessly around a figure of dust at the end of my bedroom, disturbing my night. The clock announces just after 2 a.m. 22 after, in fact. Now, in the daylight, I think I must have dreamt it. For surely there are no angels around here to be summoned by mere chance of a collection of numbers. Now, I wasn't going to read this one because I only discovered it was sort of half-written. It remains half-written. The rest are all typed out beautifully and printed, but this is sort of scribbles. But I found it, and I thought I will read it, because I see that today, again, in another 6-3 reading, and 6-3 ruling, and I think you ought to say, by the way, you know, it's almost a poetry series, isn't it? 6-3. So in another 6-3 ruling, I see the Supreme Court is getting more active and now is ruling on the climate. So never mind those emissions. You make as many as you want. So I started writing this after, do you remember the COP26 in Glasgow last year? You may not remember it because, well, I'm sure you sent a delegation because you've changed president and they have heard of the climate now. So this is called COP Out 26. Yeah, I heard your fine words in 2014. And your commitments in 2016, and I looked to see just what you did about that. I see that in the UK, we will halve emissions by 2030, while China will have maxed out its emissions in the same time frame. Do they not see that world domination is kind of dependent on there being a world? Indonesia will halt deforestation in 2030. I suppose if there's no forest left, you can't pull it down. So that's an easy win. And India and Australia and Germany build industry that depends on coal. Fossil fuels are done, baby. Wise up. I read today that food waste costs 14 billion in probably any currency you like. And you despair that in this day and age, any food is wasted. FFS. What is it that we don't yet get? Okay. This is called Then. It's short. Simply because we were young, and you made me happy, and you made me cry, I loved you then, because there was no reason not to. Time and light. I don't think you'll need to look anything up after this one, but, we'll see. There's something later that you'll need to look up, so that's good. Just hold that thought. I might start giving abstract references, I think, to learned journals. Time and light. We are caught in time and darkness, constrained by universal limits on sight, night, and light's finite, constant motion, which of course serves to weave light with time in some celestial tapestry of misunderstanding. The more we can see, the further in time we travel, closer to the beginning, but no further. The more we can see, the less we know, and the more light we need to illuminate the unknowable. And it has always been thus, craving light so that we may see more, bring darkness down, and reveal the truth concealed. Okay, we lived for a while, 10 months or so. We lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Arizona, Phoenix, has this phenomenon. It's sort of like the 10-minute monsoon. Sort of like 5 o'clock in the summer, 5 o'clock, heavens open, thunder and lightning. 10 minutes later, sun comes out, steam, everything's dry again. It's amazing. So this is Scottsdale tone poem, and it evokes that sort of memory. From my balcony, I watch the mountains try to stare me down again. Sometimes snow-topped, sometimes sun-kissed, always glowering, brooding, watching. Today, rain-drenched, illuminated by lightning, surrounded by that electric, phosphorescent glow. The 5-minute monsoon slashes the darkness with tributaries of light, sheets of incandescence, fires crackling rounds of suppressed electric discharge around the hemisphere of my hearing. An aurora in miniature that draws me in, draws me to the edge, and disappears, just as I think I understand it. Okay. All right, I just want to make sure I don't run out of time before I get to the end, because I've got a treat at the end. Yeah, that's when I walk out. That's when I walk out. Then you'll be relieved. Okay, same old blues. Same old blues, it's an epigraph from J.J. Cale. Yeah, I heard that rumor. Tell me, where does it end? It's the same old blues, those same old blues again. Eyes snap open wide, staring, see nothing. Breathing heavy, gasping for air that isn't there. Body shaking in the night sweat, soaks sheets already sodden. Thoughts swoop at light speed across tortured synapses, looking for somewhere to be considered, processed, evaluated, remembered. In this interlude, snatched from sleep, or even within sleep, there is no respite. And I know too well how it goes from here, this old familiar. The repeated refrains, the same old blues, and no way out. I'm not going to do that one. Right, so one of the people who comes to our reading in England is, she's a lampshade maker. She makes bespoke lampshades. And she opened a shop and invited a few of us along. She thought it'd be nice if we did a sort of mini-themed reading on the theme of shopping. You think about that. Think if you had to do that. What would you come up with? Bugger all, I tell you. It took me ages. But I thought, I'm damn well not going and have nothing. So with my sincere apologies to Cole Porter, I offer you Amazon Grows. Times have changed, and we've often rewound the clock since we'd get dressed up to shop and keep going until we'd drop. Till now, today, we'll shop by click, and any thoughts of a retro shop would cause the mouse to stick. In olden days, internet shopping was looked on as something shocking, but now, heaven knows, Amazon grows. Now, authors too, who speak out loud, buy books and sell them from the cloud, poems and prose. Amazon grows. If electronic games you like, if household goods you like, if homes and garden wares you like, if films and TV you like, if pets and DIY you like, if health and beauty things you like, then no one dare oppose when every night the clicking army goes online and drives us balmy Websites close. Amazon grows. And after that, I got COVID. Just saying. That was a while ago. Months. Ugh. Okay, this is called, I grew up in Essex. I'll refer to that later. I grew up in Essex on the estuary, almost on the estuary of the River Thames. And we could go, in those days, very long time ago, obviously, we'd go for walks, we'd walk down there, the kids, we'd go walking down there, we'd walk along, there's a big sea wall. In 1953, there'd been an enormous flood. The high tides had coincided with lots of rainfall. There was poor defences, huge floods, catastrophic. So they built a sea wall along the river. And it's quite an ancient part of Essex, I guess, and dating. There's remnants from Roman times. So anyway, this is called Thames Barrier. Walking on the sea wall at 16, I could look out at the dirty river and its almost estuary. Still tidal, where North Sea currents mix with erstwhile Cotswold waters in a slurry of mud and slime and the filth of ages. This wall offers barely adequate defense against an alliance of highest tide and unseasonable rainfall. See? See? The stinking, muddy rills full of reeds and broken ironware, rusting quietly among the seabirds, meander oddly on the wrong side of the wall, outflanking the weakest part of the structure. I have walked between the ancient forts, decayed and crumbling after 400 years, and offering barely adequate defense against the French or the Armada. No artillery now, and left to ruin as I remember them. Dank reminders of cannons pointing down river, an early deterrent. Defeated at last, and the gulls screeching their chase of the boats from the docks upriver. And I thought of the soldiers once consigned here. Between the forts lie concrete blocks and bunkers, a maze of spaces inside with slits for eyes to watch the river, and offering barely adequate defense against potential attackers from two world wars. Home now to bottles and cans and used needles and condoms. Echo chambers of eerie dampness in the unremitting dark. And I wondered as I walked of who had walked before me, and of the thoughts they offered to the sky, as did I, and why all that remains is ruin now, and mud and reeds and gulls, as if no one heard. Right, I've got two more, all right? Two more. So, the piece of information for you, fun fact, the Epsilon Eridani star system. No, he doesn't need to. I'm giving him all the information he needs. is 10.5 light years from Earth, roughly. So that means that light from Earth would take 10.5 years to get to Epsilon Eridani. So imagine, right? Imagine radio waves or light from this room. 10 years' time, where's it going to be? A student. This is called 10 light years away. Downtown, the cars stream south on Oak. Lights like bright water. Remind me where I am. Here again. Liquid is only liquid while the photons are close enough together, bouncing back and forth, illuminating everything in their path. Light is only light, after all. But my past is now way beyond the Epsilon Eridani light star system, and still going. Meanwhile, on Oak, the cars stream south as if nothing has happened. Lights like bright water. Now, last one. If any of you are of a nervous disposition, or dare I say, sensitive disposition, now is the time to switch off on Zoom, leave the room. I mean it. It's like Phil says, isn't it? It's like Phil says. No epics, I mean it. I mean it. This poem contains, I don't know how to describe it, an epic number of F-bombs. If you are going to be offended, do not stay here to be offended, is all I'm saying. I believe "go for it" was what people said at the last reading when I read it. And it seemed to be all right. Now, I've got to explain a little bit. There's a young guy in England, poet and comedian. His name's Luke Wright. Look him up, Luke Wright. And I got this, somebody played this to me on their phone from YouTube. And I just thought it was hilarious. Now, he's from Essex, right? I'm from Essex. So I feel entitled to do it. If you've ever watched The Only Way is Essex on TV, then you'll understand a little bit about it. And that's all I'm going to say. Oh, no, the most important thing. I have to say, a few years ago, there was a news story about a bunch of people who'd been camping on holiday in Essex, on vacation in Essex, and they thought they saw a lion. So there's this great story of the epic Essex Lion on the loose at the seaside. So this is called Essex Lion. So there we were, like every year, just up the road from Clacton Pier, the summer coughing up its last, the whiff of burger, clink of glass at Babs and Brian's caravan, the children palmed off on their nan, about to have a barbecue, perhaps a Chardonnay or two, then chew the fat and smoke cigars, talk football, property and cars, and let the evening ebb away in creamy moonlight reverie. When Barbara squawked, "Oh Lord, fuck me!" and all and sundry turned to see a cat-like beast. "By Christ," said Brian, "it is a fucking lion! A fucking lion! A fucking lion! That peaceful Clacton campsite nigh on went berserk. Atomic warning. Campers diving into awnings, sausages on grills, abandoned, couples pegging it in a tandem." But I just stopped and gazed in wonder at the great beast standing yonder. Silhouette on low-slung sunset, worlds away from sick, slick pundits, talent shows and loan repayments, tabloid headlines, mortgage statements, school fees, Top Gear, work and taxes forms, list, vote slips, emails, faxes. Often, I think that we're just prisoners, but that lion was the business. Stoked up coals inside of me that I've not felt since '93, then vanished in a kick of dust and left me in the Essex dusk. Officer, I swear to you, I'd only had a can or two. Ask Babs and Linda, we're not lying, we fucking saw a fucking lion. We fucking did it, wasn't a dog. No ghost town from an Essex bog. It as good as made a beeline for us, and that thing was feline. Officer, ask Steve, ask Gabby. That was no domestic tabby. Feeding that thing would get trying. A paradise lost of fucking lambs. A fucking lion. A fucking lion. I'll still swear it when I'm dying. Officer, don't be a Benny. The thing we saw was MGME. Fucking lion. A fucking lion. Aslan's nephew, Simba's scion. Fucking lion. Bona fide, the sort of thing that's got a pride. Fucking lion. A fucking lion. I'll make this plain. I'm not insane. That creature had a fucking mane. Thank you. Love you all. Wordsoutloud.org.uk. See you there.